Well, if you're a fan of kicking, then Saturday's Maroon and White game was for you. I'm Nicole Griffith alongside Travis Brown. Travis, the White team comes out on top 19-7 over the Maroon team, thanks in part to 4 field goals.
Yeah, it was a lot of kicking. It was a very spring game. Like, there was a lot of freshmen out there. There was a lot of newcomers out there. There was very vanilla play calling. I mean, even Mike Elko said after the game that they would have liked the offense to move a little bit faster, but they weren't signaling anything in. They were huddling on everything just to not give anybody an idea of what their signals might be. Should there be any spies on the premises? So it was okay football, but it was a chance to kind of get to see a few of these new guys in action. The wide receivers, Mario Craver, Casey Concepcion, they went out there and had pretty good games, just finishing under 100 yards. You know, Craver, 78 yards, Concepcion, 64 yards. Probably the best sequence of plays was the 2 back-to-back passes from Marcel Reed to Mario Craver, both with traffic in Marcel Reed's face, both contested catches by Craver. And that's a little bit of a sign of maybe good things to come. A lot of freshmen on the offensive line, wasn't able to hold back a pretty veteran defensive line, so the quarterbacks were having to scramble around, didn't have much time, and that's just stuff that is a matter of a spring game where they pick rosters before and probably won't necessarily have a lot of indication on what it's going to look like in the fall.
And the Maroon team just really couldn't get things moving, right? A lot of that is in part to Marco Jones's 5 sacks. So, and it's tricky with the spring game because, you know, it's just kind of tag off on the quarterback, and Marcel loves to, he can use his feet. I felt like they didn't really have a deep ball threat, and maybe they weren't showing that to us, but there just didn't seem to be any fireworks.
You know, I kind of said the same thing when I was talking to some guys down here. There is some reasons for that possibly, and you know, with the defensive line getting so much penetration so quickly, plays weren't really being able to develop, and like I said, you don't necessarily want to show off all your weapons in spring game, so that's a little bit that. But yeah, they didn't really try to take many shots down the field or run much vertical. Terry Bussey wasn't playing today. He was on the White team. He's kind of one of those guys that could take the top off the defense, and so that might have played a little bit into it. But it looked, if what you saw out here is what it's going to look like in the fall, which it's not, it looked like they had just a whole lot of possession receivers and not that one vertical guy who could take it off the top. But I think maybe we'll see a little bit more of that when the fall comes.
And one of the important things with spring ball is getting out healthy. There were a couple timeout for injuries, but everyone's coming away pretty unscathed.
Yeah, the one, kind of my play of the game, it was underrated, didn't really have much effect on the whole game. Aiden Herrera, backup linebacker, just absolutely knocked the snot out of Johnny Ryder, a wide receiver coming across the middle of the field in the first half. And when things were a little bit slow, it was a defensive struggle there in the first quarter. That was about the best play. I mean, it seemed like Ryder was okay. He was down for a while and was able to jog off under his own power. I don't think he came back into the game, but we asked Torian York about him after the game, and he said they call Aiden Herrera little Ray Lewis for the kind of punishing he gives some guys back there. So again, probably not a guy we're going to see a whole lot in the this fall, but interesting when those guys make a little bit of a name for themselves in the spring game when they get a little bit more of an opportunity.
Yeah, we're here. It's kind of windy.
Good thing I don't have my windscreen on my mic.
No, that's okay. It was a great spring game weather, I would say. Cloudy is very nice.
Thanks, Max.
Yes, thanks, Max. What are you looking forward then for them? I know the fall is very far away, but for what do you want to see cleaned up?
Yeah, I'm curious to see the continuity and the ways that the offensive line has improved. They were really pretty good last year and kind of a surprise a little bit last year, and they returned basically everybody from that starting offensive line. We didn't see a lot of Chase Pasantis today. They said they kind of know what he can do. Demetrius Crownover didn't play a whole lot. Trey Zune was out because of injury, and so there wasn't that same kind of continuity. I think everyone would say that offensive line is going to be a strong suit of the Aggies in the fall. It's just going to be interesting to see that next step that they take. And then the running game. When you're trying to keep people from getting hurt and you have that kind of makeshift offensive line, you're not going to run the ball as much. They did run the ball a little bit. They're also missing Amari Daniels and Le'Veon Moss, who were hurt through spring ball. So just kind of how that running game fits in and how they're going to look when they have that full stable of running backs all healthy. I mean, even E.J. Smith was a guy that head coach Mike Elko said was one of his guys who took the next step during spring ball this year. What that running game is going to look like, because we got to see the wide receivers a little bit today, got to see some of the new defensive backs today. I mean, Julio, we call him Julio, Julian Humphrey, the other cornerback that transferred in from Georgia. Will Lee gave him the high praise of saying that they have two blankets out there, not just Will the blanket Lee, but two blankets on defense. And I don't know what a two blankets can completely cover my couch at home. So we'll see what two blankets can do for a football field.
And I think a lot of people have questions on what that secondary is going to look like coming off of the Las Vegas Bowl game. So, final thoughts from the spring game.
Yeah, I'm glad spring ball is over. It's a whole lot of, we talked about this on the podcast this week, it's a whole lot of, we don't really know what the baseline is, we don't know what they're working on, and we don't know what a lot of these guys have been doing in practice, so it's hard to make a full judgment on what they're going to do in the fall after one game where the play calling is very vanilla, the offensive lines are all mixed up, but they came out healthy. They look like they've solved some problems or have some new weapons on the at the wideout position. They have some new weapons and some new options at defensive back, which is something they pointed out as a struggle last year. And so the pieces are there. We've seen the pieces. Now we're going to wait till the fall and see how those come together in the full puzzle.
And we put a bow on spring football. 19-7 white team. Torian York said that he was a captain and he drafted on the Maroon team, and he said they just get embarrassment from this. So we'll see if that fuels him this offseason. And KBTX, we will transition into, we've already been covering baseball and softball, but now it is full spring sports moving forward. Tennis, golf, we keep going.
Yeah.
But we're going to wrap it up here from Kyle Field. For Travis Brown, I'm Nicole Griffith.